Hey fellow travelers, so I want to make a quick video that has been on my mind. I know this is a travel channel and I do urge you to check out some of my travel stuff. You can check out my Travis Fox Photography Instagram page for a lot of my street photography from here in my home, Roswell, New Mexico. But this video is just something that's been on my heart since about 2009, 2010. And I want to preface it with, this is just an opinion. This is no opinion on politics either. And I want to preface it with, the New York police and fire are some of the bravest men and women in the world. The men and women, not only who were in the World Trade Center that day, but also rushed into the building to save as many lives as possible. The firefighters who should have went home that day, the police officers who should have been home that day, and the families, the men and women who should have been home that day, that is the most important thing, period. Their remembrance, their honor, their sacrifice. These are some of the most important people who are just your average everyday New Yorkers who became heroes, sacrificed their own lives for the lives of others. But as I started looking into the rebuilding here and what was going on, it's been something that's broken my heart for a long time. I will say that I do like the One World Trade Center building as a building because I love architecture. I do love 3 World Trade Center. I liked the old diamond design of 2 World Trade Center, which I think they're ditching, but I never got to see the Twin Towers of the World Trade Center. And as someone who loves New York and loves construction and everything else, I know they were eyesores when they were built. I know there was the area down here that was the radio row that the politicians basically said, hey, screw you, we're bulldozing it and building the World Trade Center. And a lot of people were upset, I understand. Basically, I figured out that politicians, if they're gonna do something, it's just gonna happen. That's the way it is. But I was a strong advocate for rebuilding the Twin Towers. I believe that that would have been a huge morale boost, and it would have been something we proudly could have looked upon. I understand the arguments against it, but we were gonna build a super tall here anyways. Why not rebuild the Twin Towers? The toppings off ceremony of that event would have been a huge win and victory for America, for New Yorkers, and the world. It was the most recognizable skyline on planet Earth. Anyone could see the Twin Towers and they would know that's New York City, that's America. But the original design that was selected in the Listening to the City was Daniel Liebeskin's Freedom Tower, and it was universally hated. The New York Police and Fire did not like it, and it was just awful. Let's just say it, that it was awful. And that's why David Childs came in and they redesigned it to this current tower that echoed the original One World Trade Center tower, but was modern with its glass design and everything else. But it's incomparable. It would have been a huge morale boost and a huge thing to just every day look at it and say, we won, we did it, we conquered, we overcame, the Phoenix rose from the ashes, the World Trade Center stands and will stand no matter what. No matter how many times we get knocked down, it will come back. And in a time, and this is no politics one way or the other, because that's not what this channel's about, that's not what this video is about, but at a time when the morale in the country's low, there's a lot of division, there's a lot of problems, I really believe the Twin Towers could have been something we could have looked at and been like, this is something where a horrible catastrophe happened to this country, and this was our response, was to build it back bigger and better and stronger, to honor the people who went into those buildings, to show the world that we will not let some of our most iconic landmarks be knocked down. If the Eiffel Tower was knocked down, you would put the Eiffel Tower back. If the Empire State Building was knocked down, it's one of the most iconic buildings on Earth. You cannot replace it with something else. And it's also upsetting how long it took and how long it stalled, and it's because the politicians are all fighting of who gets control, who gets to do it, because, you know, the Port Authority owns the land, the Lower Manhattan Development Corporation, and, you know, the city and the people. And I understand there's just one big infighting of what should be built, I get it. But a group of construction workers offered to rebuild the World Trade Center for free. They were ignored. A New York Post article in 2003 stated that half of New York City wants the Twin Towers rebuilt. Ignored. The listening to the city, I don't want to say it was unfair, but Daniel Libeskind hated the World Trade Center. He hated the super block. He hated everything about it. And I read that in a book that he wrote. And he donated a lot of money to George Pataki, the current governor at the time, who wanted to look like he could get things done so he could run for president or whatever. Daniel Libeskind donated a lot of money to his political activities. So of course Daniel Libeskind's design got picked. It's stereotypical favor for favor politics. And, you know, like I said, this is not an endorsement of politics, but of course Donald Trump came out and had Kenneth Gardner's design. Kenneth Gardner's design was wonderful. You had some of the destroyed facade of the old World Trade Center that would have served as the memorial, where the memorial pools are now, and would have had a cast bronze statue of the firefighters hanging the American flag, that iconic picture. And it would have been, you stand and you see the old facade of the World Trade Center, the destruction, the rubble, and then you look up and you see brand new Twin Towers, a true phoenix from the ashes story. But of course, Mayor Bloomberg came out and said, you know, we're not going to rebuild those towers. And it's just like, why? Why can't you just have a poll or do a citywide vote? Like, just something to just once and for all prove that nobody wants this done. We're not going to do it. I believe it could have been built faster, because I'm like, if we can build the Empire State Building in 13 months in a Great Depression, this tower alone took till 14. That's 13 years. And it's a travesty. As America, we should have had those two towers back up as fast as possible to say, gotcha. Look at them. They're there. They're going to be there. They're going to stand for all time. Until the world ends, those towers are going to be there. They're just a symbol of freedom, a symbol of hope, a symbol of America. And I understand people didn't like them when they were first built. I understand that the politics destroyed a local area to make way for them, the Radio Row, and people were upset about it. But it's a lesson that when the politicians want something, they're going to have it. If they wanted to bulldoze the current World Trade Center to build something, they would do it. So that's just my quick rant. Like I said, they're just buildings at the end of the day. And I feel like buildings are a reflection of who we are. And I believe the World Trade Center, as it was, should still stand, should have been put back. But nothing will ever replace the lives lost. And my heart will never not break for the New York police and fire who should have went home that day. And for the citizens who were just showing up for work, or people who were just visiting. But if you listen to this all the way through, thank you guys. And I hope you check out my travel channel. And like I said, this is just my opinion. I know it's a touchy subject, so you might disagree with me. There's lots of people who probably disagree with me, but that's just my personal feelings. But it is the way it is. So have a great day and God bless.